Hello again, this is Lammah again, joined by Lord Denley, and we'll be reviewing some interesting Jimmy skin sets to follow up. We did the Wolf and a few others before, and we'll see how it goes.
I'm back
Oh,
again.
yeah, yeah, unfortunately, I guess. We'll be starting with Amcar Ad Hoc Mono. I don't know if you pronounced that right. That's really basic black metal, gray, and kind of piss orange color on the receiver or handguard
I,
thing. Yeah,
I don't really mind the orange. It's
it gives a little bit of contrast to it. That would
yeah,
agree. It's pretty plain though, but it was. I think it was
yeah.
the first Amcar skin, I believe.
mm, One of the first.
The funny anecdote, and is when Overkill made the 5 million copies, um, because the base skins in base weapons you get when you start the game is the Amcar and the Shimano 88. Oh, both of the skins just skyrocketed price wise. That was pretty interesting. You could see Amcar is selling for a couple bucks, even the common ones. I think it still shows on the graph on the market. Same with the Shimano 88 for some reason.
Yeah, quite a few commons in the safe tend to be higher priced, even though they're just common skins,
I mean,
which surprises me.
yeah, it's a decent skin. The combo is okay. It's just a little plain for me. But
I'm not the biggest fan of the black with the gunmetal gray.
yeah,
It just kind of seems odd, but it's a common, so I don't put much thought into it as much.
no, it's
So,
more you're more lenient with those in general. Now we move to the Axiom, which is a Falcon rifle. I think it was the first Falcon skin also. Again, orange handguard. It seems to have a little bit of. It has a pattern somehow on the ejection port, I think, if you turn it around, which is
yep,
unusual. Little white thing. With the white, it's kind of like the M car, black and gray metal. A little bit more of a pattern on the handguard. A little bit of with some black
yeah.
lines along it, so it's a little bit more work to it. The screws still look kind of pixelated and messed up, but that's overkill trademarks there anyway.
I like the pattern on the front.
Yeah,
It
it's
it
pretty
seems
nice.
like it was well placed. Like especially towards the front, it goes between the gaps or like the holes in the
Yes,
handguard
they worked
on
it.
both
Yeah,
sides.
it matched the model pretty well. To be
Yeah.
yeah.
Actually, it's symmetric now that I'm looking at it.
Yeah, both sides work pretty well, and so they did pay attention to this. So I used to own that skin because I used to own it. To play the Falcon quite a bit, and I don't anymore. But
I've used the skin
I
a
used,
fair bit.
yeah, I did too. Yeah, I would say it's a pretty good comment overall compared to the M car.
Yeah,
There's a little bit
it's a
more
good
work in it.
comment.
It has a pattern to it, which is unusual instead of just a color. Now to the Copperhead Shimano 88. Well, kind of orange metal shiny glide and black with a little bit of orange detail here and there, and that's it. That's pretty disappointing for me. I don't really like
I've
it.
never been the biggest fan of this
Yeah,
one personally. It just seems really bland. It just the slide is that orange.
I think it's too dark almost. It should pop out a little bit more to be
And
more
another
appealing.
thing that when I was looking at it, maybe it's just my game acting weird, or when you're looking at it from the side, it's like the lower half is the orange, but when you move it to more aiming down sight, the top half becomes the lighter and the bottom is the dark. And
Oh yeah, it's a
it
reflection.
doesn't seem right.
That's how the reflection is. Yeah, yeah, that's kind of weird,
It's
huh?
just really weird that they stop 80% of the way up.
I guess it's a stylistic choice, but it doesn't match the barrel. When you look at it and you flip it around,
Oh yeah.
it's misaligned, upside down, kind of. You have the black bar on the bottom, well, for the slide, you have the black bar on the top.
Yeah. I didn't notice that right off the bat, but
It's a little bit weird and unfinished.
for sure.
And it doesn't line up also with
in the back.
Yeah, where the hammer is. Yeah,
Hmm.
not a great skin, but anyway, a lot of people will pick it up because it's the first weapon you get in the game. Anyway, then the Cobra Tor 999, which it's orange and black. It doesn't have the gray notes to it like the other ones do. So it's mostly gray and orange. It's a little bit more contrasted, I guess. A little bit more detail, a little bit on the clip, a little bit on the body, and a couple screws have the orange and the grip as well. I think it's an okay skin for a common, to be honest. There's a little bit
Yeah,
more pattern to
it
it.
fits well as a common.
Yeah,
I'm not the biggest fan of the orange stripe across. 'Cause, like at first it's fairly equal, but then it almost looks like a rubber band that
sort
he
of, yeah.
attached to it that goes under the barrel and pops up on the other side.
Kind of, yeah.
It just it just doesn't seem right that it's just bending down and under the barrel. It maybe that's just my personal opinion, but
They should have gone straight, probably. Yeah.
it just seems off.
Or maybe a line was a barrel or something. I don't know.
I do like the little touch at the bottom of the magazine.
Yeah, it's a little
Nothing
detail.
much, but for a common, it adds a lot for common at least.
Yeah. Not a great weapon. That's not an easy one to use. And the
I,
Velox. Yep, go ahead.
well, I just was gonna say I don't see many people using that skin.
No, me neither. And moving on to the Uzi Velox, which has a little bit more. You can see it has a little bit of a kind of pixel camo in a way on the body. Kind of stretched out lines and still the orange grips you can get. And that's all it has, pretty much.
There's a warning on the grip also,
Warning and one orange screw next to the stock. So it's one of the
but
simple ones, but it does have a pattern that the other ones don't have.
yeah, I do like the pattern, especially with Super Skin Swapper. It applies a lot of places since it
Mm-hmm.
is applied to the body, the stock, and
The
if
magazine,
you look
yeah,
closer at the magazine,
yeah, it's vertical on the magazine, yeah,
yeah, it's a little odd, but it at least it wherever it's the darker brown, gray, black, it has the pattern applied. So it has the consistency.
yeah. I did like the skin overall. I think that was the first Uzi skin, also, I believe. So I used to have it for a while. And the Uzi is a pretty, well, at least at the time, was a pretty decent skin. I mean, weapon to use.
It's still
It's
pretty
still
good.
pretty good, yeah, compared to others, for sure. Overall, a pretty decent skin. Moving on to also the first skin for the Akimbo Interceptor twin chip. Kind of remembers a little bit of the Shimano 88, I guess. It's just orange and gray. Again, you can see the same pattern a little bit on the slide. That's kind of the horizontal pixel camo in a way, gray and
Yep.
black. That's similar to
It
the other weapons. Yeah,
it just seems like they took um two of the other skins, like the Velox and the Tor,
yeah,
and just kind of blended them together
pretty much. They use the orange from
with
it,
the
and
orange
yeah,
and the pixel pattern,
that
pixel
used to
camo.
be a pretty popular skin early on because it was again the first for that weapon.
Oh, I've seen the prices on these. I think I had a pair of Mint Stat,
Well, those
and they
things
were
are,
like
yeah,
$3 plus, and it did not seem right, but they they apparently were wanted.
I think they still worth around that, if not more sometimes. Actually, I should check. You made me curious now.
Hmm?
I'm checking the price.
Oh,
Stat twin chip. Well, the mint are $5 right now, so that has not changed that much. Oh
yeah,
well.
I honestly have no clue why they're so expensive. Like it is a nice skin, but
Or maybe
I personally I
it's a good
personally wouldn't
weapon.
pay.
Maybe
Yeah, the interceptors are
they're pretty
decent
popular.
weapons.
Yeah. Moving on to the uncommons with 1014 VIX CQC, which is actually one of my early favorites for the M1014, which I used to use quite a bit, enormously. And this one actually for an uncommon has quite a bit of detail for me. It mixes
Oh yeah.
one pattern for the the handrail. The barrel has a nice orange with a sticker on it. Same, it has like the triangle from Jimmy on the body. It mixes the orange and the black and the gray and the white pretty nicely overall. It's pretty elegant in my opinion.
This is one of the first skins where I was looking at it in the safe and I always wanted to unbox one. And through all the unboxings I've done with Jimmy safes, I've never gotten one. Or
Oh,
at least I've
really?
never
Wow.
unboxed one.
I think I
I
got a
don't
Mindstat
remember
once.
if I have it at the moment, but it's one that I've never unboxed, even though I think I've unboxed almost everything else. It's just one where my luck has not gone with.
I used to use that weapon a lot, but I kind of stopped using it. I guess it fell out of favor for me.
Yeah, I really like just the little details that they put into it.
Oh, it has a lot. Yeah, the little drag
Oh yeah.
signs on the barrel, on the stock, and the little arrows.
A lot of these patterns that they have in the Jimmy safes are ones that I really enjoy. It's just nothing too complex, nothing too flashy, but they're clean.
They do have a little controversy with the Asimov kind of style from CS:GO,
Yeah.
slightly inspired, I suppose. And checking
Well,
the yeah,
there's quite a few skins that are inspired by CS:GO, especially the community ones. There's a
yeah,
few of those that are, I don't want to say direct copies, but
heavily
they really
inspired.
push it. Yeah.
Now the Omnibow for the pistol crossbow, but mostly a white body, a little bit of orange detail, and it's black. It's fairly simple for an uncommon, but it's a skin that, I mean, it's a weapon that doesn't have a lot of real estate you can play with, I guess. Maybe you can tell me more about it. There's a little bit of a pattern on the bow part of it.
Yeah, the inside of the bow has a clean pattern.
Yeah.
And then also in the back, there's just two arrows
Oh, I
pointing
can
up.
see them now. Yeah. And you see them more from a player view, actually, rather than the
Yeah.
side. On the side, it looks kind of plain.
The one thing I was gonna say about this skin for sure is I think it's a very, very nice skin for the gun or the weapon, but
Yeah,
it's a
I
shit
can see
weapon.
it more.
So
It's not. I used it a fair bit with explosive rounds. It's actually pretty nice.
huh.
Because I used
I
to run
I on
H.
the other
Yeah,
hand have not had as much success with it, so it's kind of not really a good gun for me. It's one of the least used weapons I have.
it was a good alternative for HE Judge for me when I was trying to other settings somehow.
I think it's just the trajectory of the arrows.
It goes a
It
little
it
down.
feels
Yeah,
different than the others. And
yeah, it
I
does.
learned how to use the other bows and then switching to this, I was missing everything.
And when you
Just-
look down up the front, each side is not really aligned. When you look at it, it has like little straps where the rubber bands are holding. The pattern is asymmetrical there.
yeah, it's a little cut off and not symmetric.
Yep. I mean, the bow parts are almost symmetric, not completely. They are slightly misaligned, but yeah, I can see a little bit more detail and a little bit more work went in that skin than if you look on the side it looks pretty simple, definitely. I guess you showed me to appreciate it a little bit more. I don't use
I
it
d
much though.
I like the arrows in the back. That's that and just the generally symmetric pattern that you'll see on the
Yeah,
inside of the bow.
yeah, that's for sure. I never really paid attention to that, to be honest, actually. But I can see it now. Thank you. Moving on to the GSPS Lux, which I think was the first skin for this weapon, I believe, also. Mixing orange, black, and white with a little bit of pattern on the body and the barrel. It's actually a pretty nice skin also. You can see they tried to use the shape of the gun again, with the like especially the stock with a mix of orange and black, some of the body with the regular stripes that they used on the other weapons, black and white.
Yeah, this is another one similar to the Vix, I think it was, where I don't think I unboxed it, but I always kind of wanted it. It's a nice skin.
It is. That I used to have it for a while.
I
Yeah.
honestly really don't have much more to say. It's a lot of repeating of what I've said about the Vix. It's just little touches and it just comes together nicely.
It has a little less detail than the Vex. It doesn't have like the stickers as much, those little
Yeah.
arrows things, but they try to use the shape of the gun pretty well, actually. They put some effort into it. It was replaced for by another skin for me, but Damascus from.
The only thing that I see that's a little off is the under the barrel near the front.
Yeah?
The pattern is a little off. One side has I don't know how to explain it. One side, like the player side, has this extra chunk that the other side does not.
Oh, yeah.
Realistically, in game, you would never see it, but
Yeah, I see what you
actually,
mean.
it looks like a just a continued pattern from where
Yeah.
the
It doesn't
pump
like.
action.
It just doesn't line up. Yeah. But it's hard to see, though. You have to really observe it.
Yeah, yeah. I actually just noticed that.
Oh, God, I'm looking at the stock of it, the back, and it's like the screws are terrible on it. Those things are like sloppy as fuck.
Oh yeah, those are gorgeous.
Yeah, Overkill doesn't like screws. I guess they don't. They probably rushed making those weapons skinnable, probably. Moving into
Yeah,
the baby
a lot
deagle.
of the skins seem to not enjoy screws.
I mean, you don't really notice them when you use them. It's just when you observe them like this, and you can see all the screws are pretty messed up. So the Agrocin does have a body and grip with again the kind of pixel camo kind of stretched out, gray and black, some orange detail, and the white kind of metal slide. It's actually a pretty nice skin overall. I used to like it was one of the better ones of the Deagle early on.
I have a special connection with this. At the time, I remember the baby deagle was like
Oh yeah,
the
yeah. It was like
125
a
damage
Deagle, but
and but great fire rate, great pickup, and I used it so much. I think it's the highest killed. I have the most kills with this weapon. I have like 20,000, but I'm quite a passive player, so that's a lot for me.
that's quite a bit for just a
Yeah,
pistol.
and
Yeah.
this was the skin where I opened safes to get it, and I got a lightly marked, and I think I actually still have that lightly marked.
Oh, nice.
I love it. I absolutely love it. But
It does super skin swap pretty well, actually. Also.
yeah, the only thing that I'm not as big of a fan with, and I'm just verifying this in my inventory, is when you apply the special grip that comes with it,
Oh, yeah. I would have to
it
check
just
that.
makes it black. It's just a black grip,
Hmm.
which is kind of disappointing, but it's still it's the first skin I got for it, and well, I think it was the first skin for the baby deagle, but
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I just love it. It's
Yeah, it came like just soon after the Jimmy heist came out, I believe, in the Jimmy character.
yeah, it was a recent gun, and then they made a skin for it.
Oh no, the Baby Eagle came when I think it was around Body, no?
Hmm.
And then Jimmy got the White Streak, which is a copy, like a carbon
Yeah,
copy, pretty much, which never got a skin actually.
no.
Still no
Super Skin
skin.
Swapper finally had an update for that, so
Oh
now you
yeah,
can apply skins to that.
and I haven't used this White Streak actually at that point. I used it a little bit, but
I enjoy the feel of it. It's a clean gun. It acts the exact same. It's just different
it's
looks.
yeah,
But
it's free.
yeah,
Moving on to the rares with I don't know how to pronounce that thing. Oh, wrong button.
I've heard Immer Spotter and Eimer Spotter.
I call it the spotter because I don't know how to say the other one. I'm you are or Emor or Imor. I don't know how you want to say that. That's actually one of the first skins I really liked early on. It's pretty detailed. It has a lot of patterns and different colors mixing. Again, still with a regular Jimmy black and orange and yellow and white and gray. Always was a kind of diagonal patterns to it. Little kind of signs and drag signs. A little bit of geometrical patterns, lines, and so on. So I think it's a pretty complex things skin that come together rather well overall, even though the gun is not the greatest.
Yeah, I enjoy the skin. Sadly, I sold both of them that I unboxed.
Mm.
I unboxed a lightly marked stat and a lightly marked.
Nice.
Kind of wish I would have kept them because it has a lot of value now.
It super skins well. I mean,
Yup.
it super
Eh,
swaps very well. Yeah, I don't
there's
have
a
mine
lot of
anymore either.
yeah, there's a lot of uh, patterns that show up when you swap it.
Yeah. But I just don't use the gun. The pickup is pretty bad, and the ammo clip is always small compared to other DMRs, so it's not that great.
I tend to use the assault kit just because I don't mind
Yeah,
having a lower damage weapon. I just need the ammo.
yeah.
That's the key.
As a regular non-DMR, it's actually pretty decent. But
I've been
overall,
using a
it's
lot. Oh,
yeah. Go ahead.
but I've been using it with full auto in a
Yeah,
full auto build, and it seems to be playing really well. So
maybe I should give it a try again as a non-DMR. But I don't play quite as much lately. Moving to the Leo Eflux. I don't know how you pronounce that thing again. So this one seems to pick up a little bit of the detailing from the 1014 was a double arrow and maybe the omnibow also. And it has a white slide
uh,
with an orange stripe and kind of a gray black body and grip together. And the clip is also dual colored orange and white and a little bit of black on the bottom. It's actually, I think it's pretty nice Leo skin overall. I think I used to have it when I used to. Leo was overpowered at the time during the bomb heist and later. It used to be a great pistol at the time, but that's not the case anymore, unfortunately.
this is one of those skins I never got attached to it. It never really was a skin that I liked. Like
Um,
it's a clean skin, but there's just
it's a
something about
little
it that didn't
simpler,
catch me.
maybe.
Yeah,
It's simpler for a rare compared to the, like the spotter, for example.
yeah. I also noticed, um, I think you mentioned it, there's the arrows on the side, closer to the end of the barrel,
Yeah.
but then there's also the arrows on the red dot site, like on the top
Oh,
side.
it does have it, yeah. Which you probably don't even see in game.
I don't think you would see it in game.
No, only on inspection. Yeah.
The one thing I really like about these skins is actually that with almost any of these skins, the more you look at it, all these little
Little
features just
things,
kind of
yeah.
pop out at you.
The slide looks kind of funky. Like a little bit like when you see that the multiple arrows, the white arrows. It's really pixelated there. It's kind of I don't really
Yeah.
like that too much for some reason. I wish it was a little cleaner.
And
It's pretty
I also
pixelated right
noticed
now.
on the opposite side of the gun, there's a little bit of white that appears on um, the mag release, kind of behind the trigger, and
Oh yeah, it does. Not on the other side. Yeah, interesting. But even then, if you swip it around, it's the release is like half black, half white. It's kind of weird.
yeah, it's just it's another one of those inconsistent things.
Yeah, they didn't pay. It's still back then. They didn't pay much attention to the other side too much. Yeah, I still think this one has a pretty low quality texture, which explains the pixelation probably. When you zoom in,
It,
it's not too pretty.
yeah, I, like I said, it's not really one that I've ever really attached much
Yeah.
to, but I've seen a lot worse
Oh yeah, there's
rares.
far worse out there. And the last rare is a Para Nullverse Paradox. I think that's the name. Again, it's pretty detailed. Again, there's quite a few different black, white, orange patterns around it, especially like the white and gray patterns on the grip and the sides and the stock. There's a lot of little orange details all over the body, different parts, and the grip is black. I think I used to like that skin quite a bit. It has a little stick, like a warning sign sticker on it for some reason, really close to the grip. The little arrows, orange and white on the body.
And a warning on the stock.
Yeah, it's hard to. Yeah, it's really small, but you can see it.
This skin just seems to use a lot of the assets from the other one. Like you
Yeah,
mentioned, it's just
the same patterns. Yeah,
similar pattern, colors, warning, the arrows underneath the sight.
little
It's not
orange
a
in
bad
the
skin,
injection
but
port. Yeah,
hmm? Oh yeah,
which you don't really see unless you use inspect animation. Again, the screws are messed up as usual. Well, it's supposed to be black. It has some kind of weird light colored stuff around it. Thank you, Overkill. Oh god. The stock looks pretty bad. The two screws on the back, it looks like
ooh,
80s games.
it's like oh,
That's pretty sad,
I,
huh?
maybe not the brightest moment, but
Yeah. I don't know what the modeler was thinking because I understood that the modelers or the guys that made each model skinnable. So, and that's probably what causes this problem, I'm guessing. I wouldn't know. Somebody else would be able to explain that a little bit more, probably.
I don't know.
It seems to be around the screws, so I don't know.
Yeah,
Anything around. And moving on to the epics with the Dax CQC, the Jocelyn. The first step, I think it was the first skin for the Jocelyn at the time, which has an interesting kind of pattern on the pump action as well as the grip. But overall, it's a little simple for an epic for me. I was expecting a little bit more work on it, even though you can see it's fairly detailed when you look up close. On the grip and the pump action, there's still the two arrows and near the trigger on actually on the non-player side.
I did not notice that.
I just noticed that now. You can see they worked the pattern on the pump action a little bit more. It's like a
Yeah,
little more broken, a little more open up. It has a little bit of gray and white in it. Some thinner lines, wider lines. They did try to make it
this,
more appealing.
yeah, this skin has always kind of disappointed me because how I played with the over under is I have the short barrel and no stock
Yeah, so
or
you wouldn't see the
minimal
orange
stock.
stripe. Yeah,
So you
you wouldn't
don't see
see
the
the
orange
stock.
stripe in the front. You lose out most of the pattern on the stock,
Yeah,
and all you get is the pattern on the foregrip.
yep.
And when you're playing in the game, you don't really notice it. So it was basically a black and white skin,
And that's all it was at the time. Yeah.
and it honestly felt like an uncommon to me.
Yep. That
Maybe not quite common, but
you
it's
have to
just
inspect it more
there's
in
a
detail.
lot missing.
Yeah. It's only when you look up close that you see the pattern is definitely more worked on it than other skins was.
Yeah, I
There's
guess if
some,
you're using the entire gun, not just chopping off the sides,
yeah,
it's a decent skin, but still, like you said, There's just it's missing a little bit for an epic.
A little bit. Yeah, I was expecting maybe a few more colors. It's anyway. So it's still pretty detailed when you look at it and you zoom in and you see those really thin lines on it. Like when you zoom into the max, which means that they didn't really. They used a pretty high resolution pattern on this one.
For sure.
Because other weapons have like super pixelated stuff, and this one does not. So they did try to work it a little bit more. I could see they tried to put a little more quality in it, but it's really hard to see when you're in game. You have to really observe it up close on in here in the inventory. But I was expecting a little bit more color work on, especially like you say on a bump action and around where you hold the gun, so you can see it when you're in game. Actually, I can see the two arrows. You can see them a little bit further down the barrel on the player side, a little bit in the pump action part.
Yeah.
Orange and white. It's just not as visible as the other side.
The white blends in, and
Yeah,
the orange to me just kind of blends in with the pattern a little bit.
a little bit. Yeah, it's not super. It doesn't pop out as much. Yeah.
It doesn't
Any,
stick out like the other side, where it's placed on a black surface.
but I guess I do get to appreciate the skin a little bit more just looking at it more right now. So
Just a lot of little details that they've added in.
that you don't really see because you're just shooting things.
Yep.
Moving on to the GL40, which was also the first skin for a GL40, I believe, the Atom, which actually I'm pretty impressed with this one overall. It has quite a bit of work and they used the shape of the gun really well and they actually went with a different color. This time they used blue instead of orange, which was kind of nice and unexpected from the collection. But the barrel has an interesting black and gray pattern, kind of geometrical again, and it mixes the white, black, and blue and gray pretty well on the stock. I'm pretty impressed by the skin. It's actually something that applies to other weapons really well as well.
It's the skin that I've never had and I've always wanted.
Oh wow!
But it's one of those skins where I've always kind of wanted it, but the price of it kind of turns me away from it.
The lower conditions are not too bad, though the lightly marked and others.
Yeah, the lightly marked I'd probably be able to handle, but I tend to be a lot more picky with conditions. Unless
Yeah,
it's we're talking about rare legendaries, then condition has no value or no like I don't care about the condition. Like Hungry Wolf, Status, and Co.
yeah.
Battle worn is perfect. But I like the subtle pattern on the barrel. I feel like it's just enough
It
to
stands
see
out.
it in
Yeah,
game,
yeah,
but it's not like it doesn't necessarily pop out at you, which sometimes it's nice to have something pop out, like a pattern pop out at you. Sometimes this having it nice and subtle there is just
it adds a little elegance
a
to
fine
it.
touch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I really like the blue. It's a nice change from everything. One thing that I would have liked to see, not that it applies to Atom, but it would have been nice to see another skin with the blue,
Yeah.
because
The
it kind of just
Jocelyn
sticks
could have
out.
been. The Jocelyn could have probably benefited from having a little blue on it. I'm thinking, but
I feel like that I feel like the Jocelyn, let me take a look at it again. That could have done a really nice with the blue. Just replace the orange with the blue.
or part of the orange maybe. Yeah.
Huh.
Something to try.
That would be a really cool idea. Rex, if you're listening, can you make the Dax but with blue? Thanks. I'm not quite that skilled to do that. You can probably do that.
Oh, I'm sure he can.
Yeah.
If you look at the other side, the barrel looks pretty messed up. They didn't really pay attention to the.
For the Atom?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
just doesn't look right. It doesn't line
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. That that must be the spot where the pattern starts from one side, carries over.
Yep. They
And
didn't cut it
like
off.
with a lot of the other skins, I don't think they were really paying attention for the inspection.
No. No.
At least they put the effort on the player's side. There's
Oh,
not really
definitely, yeah.
anything that's disappointing on this side.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Yeah. I mean, if you swirl it around and you look on the bottom and the blue and the white and the black don't really connect perfectly, especially on the stock part, but that's minor, really, I would say. It's really hard to see. You would never see that in game, ever. Just skin nuts like we are would see that maybe, but that's it. Anyway, I guess we have to move on to the legendary, which we both had.
Yeah, I had it for a while. I sold it.
For a few months, I would say, something like that.
I kept it for oh hmm, I think I had it until oh, November, December, so I had it for like 5 months.
That's pretty decent. Most people move them around so much, and
I would have liked to keep it, but at the time I needed a little bit of extra
yeah.
money, so life
So
comes first, so
this comes with a lot of custom parts.
oh
I think. Do you think the clip is a custom part on it?
um
It might be. I'm not. Probably not. I'm guessing. The barrel for sure. The upper receiver is. The handguard is custom. What
for this
covers the
one
side is
I'm
custom. The grip.
this yeah, I'm
This,
trying to think through the like you mentioned the barrel is a custom. Um the stock is custom. And one thing that I think this is kind of cool, the part that kind of blocks the scope,
yeah.
that is the gadget. Because when you flip it to the other side, there's like a black box there. That's where
Yeah.
the laser comes out of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It kind of threw me off at first. I'm like, wait, what? That's the I thought that would have been just part of the foregrip or some other part, but that's a gadget.
It is. Yeah. A lot of the legendaries have their own lasers or flashlights. Yeah. That are
Yeah.
placed differently, so you could have two lasers if you wanted to. If you mod them, and when you shouldn't be modding them. So. But overall,
This
it's actually somewhat simplistic in a way, but it has nice, clean
simple.
lines.
I really like the custom attachments. It makes it look futuristic for sure.
Oh, definitely. It looks
I forget what the description of the gun says, but it's just basically like I think it was Akon wanted a
oh yeah,
futuristic gun.
with astatine or something like that.
Yeah,
If they had
it
enough for
they
one weapon.
yeah they the the story behind it. Not that really many people look at it or even care about it, but it fits the gun. It fits the Jimmy theme very well,
Yeah.
and especially with whatever mod you have to change optics or attachments. Changing that, I had a holographic because
I put the
let's be
recon
honest, the
sight.
ACOG is not really the best, but
I put the recon sight. It fit pretty well, actually.
I remember when I had it, I tried that. It looked very nice, but I'm still not as big of a fan of the um ACOG style sights. So like ACOG,
Oh,
military
yeah.
red dot, mil spec, combat, and reconnaissance. All just kind of eh. They're 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 not as useful for me.
I do put a DMR on it with competitors compensator on it. I did put, let's see, oh, the fast reload, the speed mag thingy. Yeah. So mine loses the barrel, it loses the magazine. I keep all the rest the same. But I
I
tend to
think
like the
it's Super
DMR.
Skin Swapper. When
Yeah.
I traded it, the model stayed behind.
Oh, so you can still
So
use it.
I can still, yeah, technically I can still use it. It would mark me as a cheater, so I don't really bring it out ever.
People don't really complain about me, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I tend to host, so if you want to just complain and whatnot, I'll just kick you. Not salty at all, but if you just want to complain in my lobby, whatever. I like hosting,
I do
but
host most of the times, yeah.
yeah, I host or join people where I know them.
I sometimes join pubs once in a while.
I know one thing with this that I really like is the contractor grip. I'll apply that on because it doesn't
Contractor.
stick through the bottom too much. It kind of
Let's
fits the
see.
theme.
I have a straight grip right now, which might be the default stuff on it.
I think the straight grip also fits well.
I think I don't know. I think it might be the default on it. Yeah, the
Yeah,
contractor
for my
looks pretty
modded
good.
one, I have
Okay, I'll apply that then.
the long barrel with a suppressor, and it still fits decently nice.
Yeah, you lose the kind of the nice barrel on it, but you still keep the upper receiver and the
Yeah, I
futuristic
really like that.
parts. Yeah. hmm And it's one of
I'm
my
just,
my one down weapon actually, pretty much.
I'm not as big of a fan of DMRs just because of the reduced ammo pickup,
Especially
given you
now. Yeah.
given you get quite a bit of damage off, but it's just it doesn't feel right. I always like to have my comfort of ammo
Yeah.
or knowing that I can run out and
I usually
pick up.
run with a GL4, like a China Puff. So if I run a little low, I use a grenade launcher for a few rounds, and I usually can refill a little bit.
Yeah, I really like the um China Puff on harder difficulties because it balances between damage and ammo pickup.
And crowd control. Yeah.
And what?
Crowd control?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm meaning in comparison to the secondary GL40 and the
Oh,
Arbiter.
yeah.
The Arbiter has the ammo and the pickup, but you just kind of knock enemies around on one down
Yeah.
or death sentence. I'll
Death
still call it
sentence.
one
That's
down.
right. Most people will do that.
But at least I chose a good name. But the GL40 it seems a little slow to fire a shot, even though it's a damaging
It is pretty
shot.
slow. Yeah.
Then you have to reload. At least with the China Puff, if I really need to fire 3 shots, I can launch them all.
You can clear a room totally,
Oh
completely.
yeah,
Yeah. Let's open the safe. Oh, uncommon. Omnibow.
that's the one weapon I got a lot of when I opened.
Oh,
I
Battle
got
Worn.
plenty. I got plenty of omnibos.
It doesn't look bad, actually. You can see most of the pattern. There's not a whole lot of wear. Anyway. Do you like Omnibus?
Uh, well, I've opened quite a few, so
Velox. Or Velox, I don't know. Battle Worn. Oh, wow. 2 Battle Worns.
actually now that I'm looking at my pistol crossbows, I don't have one.
So do you need one?
I don't. Well, I have an omnibow. I know that because I use it for super skin swap. It does that very,
Oh,
very
okay.
well.
No, it does,
But
yeah.
I don't have it applied to either of my pistol crossbows.
But you use it
Hmm.
for other things.
Yeah,
Copperhead. Nice.
I might reapply it. Why not? Let's see if I
Lightly
can find it.
marked. Copperhead.
There it is.
That looks pretty mint, to be honest. A little bit of dotting, a little bit on the slide. Not bad. Agrocyan, uncommon. Battle worn. I guess I have a lot of battle worns today. The body is definitely in the grip, really scratched up. The slide not so much for some reason, but the body and the camo part are suffering. Amcar.
feel like this is something I should note about the aggro sim. Now that I'm looking at it with the spike kit,
Yeah.
when you attach the lower receiver spike kit, it it kind of replaces the slide and it moves the pattern back.
Oh wow.
So that the line that goes normally right behind the sight is applied really awkwardly on the back of the slide. Like it does not line up.
That's kind of strange.
It is really strange. I
They
still
probably
love the
never
skin.
worked with it on the mod
I,
part.
yeah, I don't know. But especially with the grip, you just get a black grip with the classic overkill screws. You can't break tradition. We
Mint.
messed up the screws on the beginning. Let's just carry on with them.
Well, we can. Well, yes, the screws was a big eyesore, but we have to deal with them, I suppose. $4.99 mint. I guess. Well, I'll live with that. Do you remember when the Cobus special mod came out during the last Crime Fest?
Oh yeah.
And pretty much all the skins were broken, except a
Oh
few.
yeah.
They fixed that pretty quick though, which was
Yeah.
kind of interesting. Battle worn Omnibow stat. I guess I have an Omnibow again. Twin chip. No Estados for me. Men twin chip. Oh, I guess I'll accept that.
To be honest, whenever I open a safe, whether it's the free one or the week or my bad decision to open more paid safes,
Yeah.
um, I'm fine with any mint condition.
Oh, of course, yeah. Because you keep them.
That,
Yeah.
yeah, that, or even if I have the skin, it's like okay, at least I got the best condition.
I got the broken in stat aggro sand. Well, it looks better. Still a little worn on the grip, but the body looks definitely a little better. Still some little scratching on non-play side. The play side, yeah, not so great. Still a popular skin overall. And another lovely M car. Between an Eflux and an Atom, of course.
They
They
like to
bait you.
tease you.
Yeah. Battle worn. But it's really mostly the bodies that's kind of scratched up on this thing. Even the orange is barely touched up on the battle worn M car. That's weird. It looks barely like broken in. I guess M car takes damage pretty well.
I feel like whenever you're opening the safes, it's just like, ooh, so close. You should try opening another one to try
Yep,
getting in.
that's what they want to do. It's a predatory practice. Mint Cobra again. Second one.
And it works. So they keep doing it.
Yep, Velox. Uzi. Lightly marked. It's hard to tell if this thing is wrong on this one. As far as I know, it's nearly mint. I can't really tell the difference at that point. Six more drills to go. And another Velox. Oh, lovely. Well used. Definitely, the body is definitely a little more scratched, but not terribly so. Well, I just noticed that when you look around the stock on the Uzi, it has like a orange spring or coil in there and a screw. It's kind of interesting. Never really paid
I
attention
will
to
have to
that.
take a quick look at that.
I guess the stock can fold and it's held by a spring, I suppose. But it definitely has some
Oh yeah,
decent amount of wear.
that is a nice little touch.
Oh god, and there's a Velox. I used to get a lot of those when I was opening Jimmy's. Broken in.
I've
Uh,
always had decent luck with Jimmy safes. I've opened two Eimer spotters, an aggro sin, and a Dax,
oh,
which,
nice.
considering safes, was pretty good. The last time I opened it, I got all broken in or lower blues,
Oh.
and I just kind of was like,
Fuck
ouch.
it.
It didn't feel good.
The broken in looks definitely the lightly marked looked pretty nice. The broken in definitely shows a little bit more wear, for sure.
Well,
Still,
considering that I had all the skins in lightly marked or mint, it
yeah, it's
just
kind of
it
pointless. Yeah.
added insult to injury.
Four more to go.
Can't win them all.
Guess what I got again?
And Estatas.
No, I wish.
We wish.
Another Velox. It's mint, so I guess it's a consolation
Yeah.
prize. I don't know, it's like my fourth or fifth today. That's not the best.
I'm just waiting for one of these times when you actually open like a mint red or a legendary and you just start freaking out like I got a legendary and I'd be like, nah, you're just pulling my
I
string.
could be. Broken in Copperhead stat. It's well, the trigger looks pretty bad and worn out, but the slide is not terrible. A little bit of dotting. Um, the orange pattern looks pretty decent still. Still not a good skin. Two more dwells, I guess. And another stupid amp car.
M cars aren't stupid.
They are better now. They got buffed. That's true.
Uh, well, well, to be honest, even before their buff, I really liked the AM car.
You can. I mean,
It
the
was
pickup is
it was one of
crazy.
the
Yeah.
pickup is insane.
Yeah.
It was almost a perfect run and gun weapon. You could just fire downrange, not even worry.
Yep. And just pick up everything. Yeah, that's true. That's a
Given
broken in.
you really had to put a build towards it to do that, but I enjoy the skin. It's one of those guns where I would tell people, oh hey, uh for example, okay, I'll be like, oh, choose a gun, because I had a build that was just meant for almost anything.
Yeah.
At
Of,
least half the time they're like, get the AM car, use the AM car,
yeah, of course they will do that.
and I owned with it.
It was a good build. You can do pretty well with it. Yeah.
It- well, they're all shocked. They're like, how do you use it? It's just like, you aim for the head like every other gun. Yeah. I don't know what else to say.
And the last one was broken in Axiom. Definitely some kind of wear on the orange pattern, the stock, a little bit on the body. Not too great, I guess, but my luck today never went past uncommon, so. And I think I
Well,
love the
at least you
dwells.
got an uncommon.
I did, yeah.
That's a start.
Sort by. Can you sort by collection? No. Shit. In the game, you can't sort by collection, unfortunately.
Hmm.
What do you think of the whole Jimmy collection overall?
Um, Overall, I really like it. It has a nice pattern that throughout
Like the white gray pattern and the kind of
the white,
pixel
gray,
camo?
orange. Yeah, the pixel camo. It's a little thing, but it adds a lot in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Mm.
And just keeping it relatively the same, like style,
The style is
but
very
changing it
consistent.
a little bit. I feel like they could have done a little bit more branching of styles.
Like with the
I feel
blue,
like
maybe?
they they overused the orange,
Yeah.
but
The blue
I
was only
I
on one
I
skin.
like it overall. Yeah, they easily could have added the blue elsewhere.
Yeah,
Maybe have like the blue as a feature of this is a higher tier skin
like for the
in a sense.
Jocelyn.
Yeah, for sure. I still want to see that thing in blue.
We could ask Rex. Maybe he's listening, and it's gonna happen.
Or you could just send the video to him.
uh,
Rex,
I could
you
do
can do
that.
it. I could do that too.
You probably can make like a mod override or whatever things are
Yeah,
called.
that'd
Yeah,
be
it's one of the
interesting.
things. It would replace the Astados texture specifically. I mean,
And
the
then
Dax.
we can be the inspirations for the skin.
You put a little Denley icon on it,
Oh God.
like on the
I
stock.
actually a really random note and a complete sidetrack. I made a joke skin for Valentine's or not Valentine's Day, April Fool's Day last year
Yeah.
called the Glorious Lord, and it had like the the Zeal units, except I photoshopped Denley. Community didn't like that, so I had it friends only. But I
Oh, it
thought it was
is.
funny.
I don't know if I saw it. I don't know. I don't check the
You
workshop
don't want
too
to. You don't
often.
want it.
Oh,
It was
it's.
it was horribly bad. It was decently clean looking, but it there was no intention for it to make it into the game,
No, yeah, no, those kind of
Oh,
yeah, the joke skins, yeah.
especially when that's not even my face. So,
Yeah, that you could get in troubles for that. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, anyway, thank you for joining in. That's probably gonna be close to the end of this. Oh, actually, it's probably the end of this, I suppose. I don't know if you have any
it's
last
fun to
words.
be.
Reviewing skins.
Yeah, just refreshing to go over and look at the skins again.
You see new things every time you watch those
Oh
things.
yeah, for sure.
I picked up some details that I never really noticed before. So
Especially those arrows.
yeah,
The
well,
that orange and white arrow, they appear on these skins a lot more than I was expecting.
when you pay attention to them, yeah. We'll see how what the new skins fare. Maybe we need to do maybe one video a week or something. I don't know.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you though.